Hey, it's me. What up, though? Yeah, so today we've got a video with a Terapagos team. I know I said that I was going to have you guys a Reggie, Draco, and Maridon team. I have some dogs in the room with me, by the way, so if you hear them chewing on their toys, which I feel like my mic is sensitive, so you might hear that. So my apologies for that, but yeah, you'll definitely hear that. Yeah, so I said I was gonna have the Maridon Reggie Draco video, but this is our first video in a little while. So I figured, I'm gonna get you guys this video first. I technically played these Terapag matches after the video I'm gonna show you next with the Maridon and Reggie Draco team. But, this was the round of matches that I got to Master Ball tier in. So I figured it'd be a nice and shorter video to show you guys in our return back to content, right? So what up? Hope everyone's been doing well. I will also be giving a kind of channel update on just like why I haven't been filming as much recently and my plans for filming for the future if I do keep filming. So yeah, thank you to everyone who tunes in. Let's talk about the team for a second, and then let's get the matches rolling while we talk about the channel and stuff. So, we've got this is a very like protect the leader type of team. I kind of said that when I was talking about it on Twitter, but like the idea obviously is that you have a lot of things that are going to do a really good job at supporting Terapagos to get set up. And then once it is set up, it can just kind of keep doing damage and then rely on the healing factors of the team to get it to keep going, right? So you have a really strong just team centered around stopping the opponent from taking out Terapagos before it's too late, I guess would be the way to put it, right? But if anything, I think having Terapagos and Moltres on this team just makes it like the format is too aggressive for two setup Pokemon right now. You know what I mean? Like, if I could replace Moltres with just like something that is also benefiting from healing, but something that's a lot more like directly offensive, maybe something like Iron Hands. I don't know, but like something like that. That just applies a bit more like offensive pressure while still allowing the team to function the way that it wants to function. So I think that would be nice, but in general, I think the team is pretty straightforward. Like a lot of the times, I am starting Ogerpon or Incineroar, plus Terapagos, and then bringing one of Sinistcha or Comfey in the back, plus something else. So it is very like just trying to make sure that Terapagos stays alive while putting on pressure with the other Pokemon. And it is definitely important to remember that like you do need to lean into the damage of some of the other Pokemon sometimes. Sometimes you don't have to, but you can't think you're just going to get away with not doing damage with anyone else too. So yeah, with that being said, let's just jump into the matches. So give it a sec. Yeah. So the first match we faced, I'm going to be post-commentating. That's one of the things that we're going to talk about. I might have to like post-commentate videos or just not commentate them if we want to keep doing content. But right now we have a Kyogre Archaludon team with Whimsicott, Landorus, Rillaboom, and Thundurus. Here, give me a sec. I gotta tell the dogs to stop. Alright, so yeah, I think they have a really strong team, but Terapagos generally has a strong matchup into Kyogre, which is nice, and one of the main ways of making sure my team is good is just making sure that I can avoid getting encored. So as long as I can do that, we really shouldn't have a problem. And like, I use Encore, or I mean, I avoid Encore, and then I just kind of start going, right? So I'm gonna lead Terapagos Ogerpon. They lead Kyogre Whims. And there's a couple different ways that I can play this turn. Like, I could just go straight for the Calm Mind, knowing that they can't really take out Ogerpon. But I'm pretty sure I decided that, like, because Ogerpon is bulky enough into Kyogre Whims, if I can just get off the Horn Leech on turn 1, I can probably even just click Protect with Terapagos on turn 1 and still, like, do that, but, like, mitigate the damage of Kyogre. So that's ultimately what I decided. Go to Protect Terapagos and then just try to get a Horn Leech off. But yeah, so basically, people will notice I haven't been making content recently, you know, and I honestly think it's a good time for me to be making content because I just released Pokemon Peregrine, and there's a whole different, like, these guys, he had Hurricane Whimsicott. And I got confused. But there is a niche of players, you know, who really do appreciate the ROM content, and I do want to thank the people who have tried Peregrine because, you know, there is a community of people out there who appreciate it, and I do recognize that. You know, I've been seeing the people who have been playing it. I've been answering questions for people, and it definitely feels nice to see the game being appreciated by some people, you know. So while I have not been able to make content recently, I do recognize that, like, this would be a really good time to be making Peregrine content, as well as VGC content. And the reason why I haven't been able to recently is more than anything, like, my lifestyle has changed, I guess would be the way to put it. Like, family members had to move back into my house, so we now have more people in the house, which means I don't have as much personal space to myself anymore, you know? And so, like, some people don't really think about this, but content creation is a very, like, it's a multifaceted thing in many ways. Like, not only do you have to have the time carved out or able to be carved out to make content, but there's different considerations of the time and space to do it, right? And so, like, while I can, like, without having as much personal space as I would like to at the moment, like, while I can sit there and film a round of matches without commentating it, you know, doing this, what I'm doing right now with, like, talking over it is completely, like, different, you know, and takes a different amount of time/space allotment, right? So, like, while I can film matches right now, I just don't, like, finding the time to actually talk over them or to live talk over them is a completely different consideration, right? And, like, right now, I straight up really don't even have the time at all to, like, live commentate matches, because that takes, like, a whole nother type of making sure that I have the time and space. But, like, what I can do, right, is I can film these matches in my downtime, and then I can either just post them without my commentation, or I can just wait to find the time where I have, like, 30 spare minutes or something to myself, like I do right now, and, you know, talk over it, right? And that's fine. It's just, I do, like, even though I switched back over the past year or so to not showing my faces in matches and stuff, like, I think it would be nice, ultimately, like, the way that I would like to do content is that I would like to, you know, I like showing my face, and I like doing the live commentary, so, like, we're kind of, like, scaling it back even further. Like, you know, we at one point stopped doing the face, but we're doing live commentary. Now I kind of have so little time/space to myself that, like, I have to scale back even doing live commentary. And then I have to decide whether I want to do post commentary or just post the videos without my face or anything, right? So, I mean, that's just kind of where my life is at right now, and I know some people would probably expect that I've been taking time off just because, like, I don't know, because I'm unsure of my place in the community or something. Like, I can't think of the word. I'm lacking confidence, you know, in my place in the community. And there is part of that, you know, like, I have generally been in my head a lot about, you know, whether or not I feel supported by the community, you know, and I have a tendency to like complain about it, I think, and I've been trying to like move away from that, you know, because I think there's a degree to which like talking about it too much kind of brings it on myself. So like I kind of just need to chill out and like get back to like just making content and not really worrying about like the way people see me, because the more that I complain about not being seen the way that I see myself, like I'm just being negative, kind of. Like, you gotta give people the chance to get to know you, and like if they don't take the time, that's not really on you, you know. But like just sitting there and like complaining about it doesn't really help get them any closer to knowing the real you. Like, I don't know what I'm, it's hard to explain, you know what I mean? But like in the end, that's kind of what it is like there is an aspect of it in which like I stopped making content not only because I had less time to do it, but also like because I was starting to get a lot in my head about like whether or not I'm appreciated within the Pokemon creator space. Like, you know, I don't know. It's I've been doing this for a long time, you know, and we don't need to, you know, talk about things we've already talked about, but you know, I've seen channels that were started within a couple months, you know, go way farther than mine have. And, you know, at some point you start to wonder, is the effort that I'm putting in worth it? As well as like just the wanting to feel supported / included stuff, you know? So it's all that, but like I don't want people to think that like in the end of the day my decisions are my decisions, you know, and like I make them in relation to my own life, you know. And I think from an outside perspective it's easy to look at what someone's doing and be like, it's because of this, it's because of that, right? And like really it kind of is just that simple though. Like it's not necessarily the feelings of being unsupported. Like if anything, that just adds to like I'm trying to pay attention to my tone in my videos, right? But like really it is just the not having time, you know, like not having time to film my videos where I feel like I have space to myself that I can just sit here and talk, you know what I mean? And like if people are okay with me starting to just post non-commentated videos and whatever, like I will, you know. And I'm gonna start posting either sorry, I have hiccups, non-commentated or commentated videos. But yeah, you know, I just don't have the time right now. So I appreciate those who understand. And excuse my hiccups. So we've got the really strong team here. I think this is the Luca Cherubelli team, but I might be confusing who used it. Miraidon, Ogerpon Fire, Wims, Iron Hands, Landorus, and Verigraph. I'm going to mute myself until the hiccups go away. So my thought process here is like, the worst thing they could do is honestly click Electro Drift, but I think they're probably going to target Ogerpon. So we just Spiky Shield and we go for the Calm Mind, and that guarantees that I can't get bothered by Encore. So like, really, because of how big Whimsicott is in the format right now, like, the main first thing that you need to do with this team is, if you're going to start setting up, you need to make sure you're not going to get stuck with Encore. So doing it this way ensures that no matter what my opponent does, I will still be able to tank the damage with Terapagos' ability, and then be able to use the following next turn because I protected the first turn. Yeah, so sorry, I guess I have hiccups. Oh god. So now that we got our one Calm Mind, we say, that's good enough. We'll take away their terrain so that they're doing less damage, and we just start hitting. They do go for the Encore, so that's exactly why I did it. We tank the Volt Switch. But yeah, it's just fine. It's hard right now to find time to live commentate videos, because I need to have like sometimes like an hour and a half to myself to just play, and I don't really have that right now. So it's like, I can still live commentate like my jewelry content, because that really only involves like just picking up a rock and like looking at it and talking about it for a couple seconds, right? But like, live playing VGC, it takes a whole different allotment of time than does just sitting here post commentating like I am right now, or just sitting here playing the game but not commentating. So that's really the position that I'm in right now, and it is what it is. I'm not that worried about it, but like, I sorry about the hiccups. I do appreciate those who understand that that's really all it is. You know, it's really not about like me feeling unsupported, even though that has like affected like me trying to pay attention to my tone in the videos and stuff, because I was getting a little negative for a little or something, you know, but yeah, you know, it's really just the time. So I appreciate those who understand, and our Ogerpon's doing work. So this is one of the positions that people kind of find themselves in sometimes versus this team, is like, they spend so much time trying to take out Ogerpon because they didn't like necessarily lead the right thing to do like the damage that they need into it. And that's why I think sometimes like versus this team, if you really want to beat it, you have to like go full into your offense. You know, like if our opponent had locked in the Electro Drip, like I was saying, they would have had extra damage into the Ogerpon. You know, and then once Ogerpon's gone, I don't have as free of an ability to you know, keep my Terapag protected. But like right now, Terapag just kind of clicks buttons. So I decided that going into Sinistra was the right thing to do right now, and I actually don't agree with that at all. Oh, God, the hiccups are terrible. I'm sorry. I think going into Comfy makes sense because you still force them to click. You still force them to click follow me, because they have to try to get out of the Draining Kiss if they want to click close combat, and if they can't, then they just have to take the Draining Kiss, and then so they really weren't in a safe position. If I brought out Comfy first, I don't think bringing out Sinistra first made sense. It just gives us the chance to KO, potentially KO, Ogerpon here, which we don't, and it kind of looked like we weren't going to, so that's okay. There was actually a turn in the last one where our opponent withdrew Kyogre and clicked Endeavor with Whimsicott, and they could have won because I wasn't expecting that, but they withdrew Kyogre on the turn, they clicked Endeavor, and because of that they lost. So they should have just not withdrew. So they actually go for Dazzling Green, but they target Comfy with the Ivysaur like they were supposed to, but they didn't do enough damage. So this is part of the problem with this team, is that like you really want to get rid of Terapagos, but if you're not doing enough damage into the other things, you're losing time. So like if our opponent had just not gone for Dazzling Gleam there and had gone for a double up, just like a standard double up into Comfy with like Volt Switch, Ivysaur, they would have won. Maybe. I'm not guaranteeing it, but I'm saying probably. Maybe. I think if they went for Electro Drift, Ivysaur into Comfy, they probably would have won. Especially with 3 Pokemon left. So yeah, like it really relies on some crucial decisions from both like you and your opponent to kind of to navigate these. These hiccups are rough. Not only are we trying to find a time to commentate right now, but we're battling hiccups, my game. Hiccups, my game. So opponent here tries to call that I'm not going to go for Draining Kiss. It's always the safe thing to do. Like, there's really no reason not to. So, you always block them from being able to go for close combat. And you just go for the Star Storm because we flip the Trick Room. So there's really nothing they can do about it. So yeah, GG's, we got another one. And I do think, you know, there's a level of like reading your opponent or your opponent not necessarily making the optimal plays that goes into it sometimes in these matches, but there's also a level of like play as you go, right? And like kind of adapting to the moment, the needs of the moment. So we're still making the plays we need to. So in this one, our opponent has the Groudon, Flutter, Raging Bolt, Whims, Chien-Pao, Torkoal. So unfortunately, we are having to deal with the Flutter again right off the bat, which means that like it just completely determines how we have to play the game, right? Or not the Flutter, sorry, the Whimsicott. Like the Whimsicott Encore shenanigans means that like we literally need to have a way to get out of Encore. And because of that, we do still bring Ogerpon. I decided that because this is a Groudon team with a bunch of other scary stuff, like it might actually be better to just lead Groudon this, or I mean, sorry, to lead Incineroar this time, and then just try to bring in Ogerpon in the back. Like, I don't have any auto switch out moves for Incin, for like U-turn or Parting Shot or anything, but we can still make it work. So basically, like, what I have to do is I have to use Incineroar and my other stuff to scare Groudon off the field. Because I have fake out pressure, because I have this, because I have that, you know what I mean? I have to scare Groudon off the field. And then once Groudon's off the field, I use Incineroar to KO the threats. and that's exactly what we're going to do here. So we see that the Groudon does not have Clear Amulet. That means it might be Assault Vest. So that's a huge plus for us right off the bat. Like, we can fake out... Sorry. We can fake out Calm Mind. And just like I wanted them to, they switch into Whimsicott. We fake out the Whims. They go for Snarl. Kinda sucks. I'm gonna be honest, it does kinda suck. So like we'll get the +1 Spadef, but we get the neutral special attack. And then they have Encore Pressure, which again is kind of the scary thing about it. However, Incineroar is good here, right? So, like, if we actually just protect Terapagos and Flare Blitz the Whims, we're kind of in a good position, right? So they actually protect their Whims. Very, very smart play. We protect Terapagos. They protect Whims. They are now in a very good position. However, they missed their Draco Meteor. I would have lived it anyways because I have Assault Vest. I probably would have lived too, but I do have Fairy Terra. So, like, if I really wanted to call that, I could have just Fairy Terra. Not really worth it because you really want the Terra on Terapagos. So we're actually just going to go straight for the Flare Blitz. And then we're going to switch into Comfey, I think is the play, right? So we either switch into Comfey or switch into Ogerpon. At least I should. I might not. Yeah. So by switching into Comfey, like, you can actually use Comfey to support not just Terapagos, right? Like, I'm gonna take a significant amount of damage from this Flare Blitz. And I guess the Draco Meteor. Okay, just a Snarl. I'm going to take good recoil here, but I'm going to be able to heal it right back. And that's kind of the good thing about it, right? I can't believe that I've had hiccups for like 20 minutes. Like, this doesn't happen that often. And the fact that it's happening right when I'm trying to film content is ridiculous. So we one-shot them with Flare Blitz. They do go for the Encore and fail. So they're playing into my game, right? And, like, even better, they didn't even bring Groudon back out. So they're probably just calling that I have Will-O-Wisp or Parting Shot, which I don't. And right now, because I have bulky Incin, the best thing I can actually do probably is just to go for Flare Blitz and Trick Room. So I think the pressure is too heavy on them to double up. Oh, right, no. We have the full heal in this turn, that's right. So the pressure from Incin is too much for them to double up Comfey this turn. And by doing it this way, we ensure that Incineroar stays alive, and we get to do something. Controversially, though, I could have clicked Trick Room. It's just that Raging Bolt's pretty good in Trick Room, so we do that. And then now we're in a kind of position where, like, I could call that they're going to withdraw Fluttermane, but there's nothing really stopping me from just Draining Kissing Fluttermane just in case, right? Like, I don't really get any huge disadvantage from doing that. They are going to withdraw Raging Bolt, but that's really only a big deal if they protect. So, if they protect Fluttermane, it puts us in a bit more of an awkward position, but we're going to hard withdraw Ogerpon to save the fake out, and they don't protect. So, you know, you can taunt us out of the whatever you call it, but you don't stop that. And Comfy has been a monster in this video, too. Like, I hope you guys have noticed that. Comfy has been tanking hits and been there right when we needed it. But I will get you guys the Draco Miraidon video next. And it's going to be a bit of a longer video, so I figured this would be a good one to kind of blow off my steam and give my whole spiel about how I should be making content right now, but I don't really have the space, and I don't want people to think that it's because of all my complaining that I'll do about myself, blah, blah, blah. Like, I literally just don't have the time. Like, you know, like, I'm actually taking a lot of steps to try to be positive and blah, blah, blah with my life. So, like, you know, we're getting there. But yeah, at this point, like, in the match, there's really nothing the Groudon can do. They have Bulk Up, which is, like, scary, and it does put me in a kind of awkward position, but because we have the pressure of Ogerpon Water specifically, they can't really Fire Terra out of it, and even if they do Terra, then Terapagos can take advantage of it. Like, what we're ending up in a position of right now is, like, now that we shook off the taunt and we can click Trick Room, we actually kind of benefit from Trick Room now that they're clicking Electroweb and we have Terapagos, right? So we are going to go for the Trick Room, and again, this is another one of those positions where, like, can they just avoid the Ogerpon? Like, not really. So our Comfey is most likely going to live this turn, and it's going to get off the Trick Room, and that's going to guarantee us the win. Like, sure, you clicked Bulk Up, but it's Comfey. Comfey lives. It's just a little flower, but it's a strong flower. Like, sorry. So yeah, I mean, it's at this point, it's just kind of rinse and repeat. Like, we do what we can to keep Ogerpon alive using Comfey as the good support Pokemon that it is, and then we just kind of go from there, right? Like, this team can be really hard to take out the members if you don't position correctly against it, and that's really the thing. Is like, I've played the team enough times that I know how to, like, get my opponent in the position where they're like, oh crap, like, what do I actually do? And, like, in each of these matches, I think there was turns where if my opponent had just played a little differently, like, I would have been the one on the back foot, but, like, because we were able to play in a way that we did get our opponent to switch out Groudon on turn 1, we were able to keep setting up the Calm Minds. Like, it puts our opponent in an incredibly awkward position, and that's just the way the game is, right? I think, like, while Terapagos feels very hard to pilot right now, it does have a very good matchup into the meta right now with like Miraidon, Farigiraf, Kyogre Hyper Offense, like Calyrex Shadow Hyper Offense. Like the things that it has the worst matchup into are Calyrex Ice and Zamazenta, but like you can figure out the matchups. I think Calyrex Ice is the hardest matchup to figure out, and I think it does really well into Miraidon, Kyogre, Cali Shadow's kind of okay, Groudon, you know. So like, and that's what we faced in this video, right? Like we faced a Kyogre, we faced a Miraidon, we faced a Groudon, and we were able to figure it out. You know, like if anything, Groudon was the one that posed the biggest threat, and we were able to use the team, like I was saying, to like pressure Miraidon or Groudon to go away for a little while we took out all the other stuff. So it is what it is. And yeah, just, you know, like I said, thank you to those who understand. Life is just life, you know? Yeah, alright. Have a good one, y'all. We are big out you. Find to turn off my face thing.